actually smurfing right now with these hooks. He knows one right now, but they can arrest over the wall.
The counter engage from the Chiefs is way too good. There is nothing to be done for Gravitas here.
Here, and that is the ultimate connected themselves into a false hold. Final 20 minutes off the goal.
Only player to lock in this lane. There is just no damage for the Chiefs. Raiden gets the first pentakill of the LCO.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting emotional. It's the final week of Split 1 here at the LCO. And look, we've still got the playoffs to get through before we get to the finals on the weekend. And we had a damn good couple of games last week. You know, we had to say goodbye to Order. We did see a spectacular match as well in that upper bracket between Pentanet and Peace. So look, let's have a quick look back at what went on last week before we get into today's festivities. I think
Never mind, I'm blind, everybody. It's a complete ace by Pentanet. Violet's doing it himself, has the Chrono Storm available on top of him. He's going to survive for now. And the knockup is great. Played it, done. Surely this is Peace's chance now. Violet, a double kill, continues to auto-attack uncontested. And in the end, gets a triple. Will chase BioPanther down as well, looking for that quad, but it does not matter who it goes to. But might have kept him alive here. Does have the Zonyas as well, but needs backup and needs it desperately. Have they overcommitted for this kill onto Praden? He's still alive, still kicking, still firing. Violet now in the thick of things, and all of a sudden, Praden survives for so long. Peace do manage to... And the attention turns to a shockwave. Praden is locked up. Not quite enough damage from Lisa. And Praden will survive on the skin of his teeth. Or never. He dives in, so too does Decoy, and Aki charmed up, can't go anywhere. Aladoric, grand entrance will not manage to do a whole lot. That is surely going to be it. Violet and Halo desperately trying to fight under the Nexus Towers, but BioPanther will not be denied and shove it in.
There you have it. It was a spectacular week last week, and I dare say we're going to get the exact same amount of entertainment this week, final week of Split 1. And look, to bring you guys at home all the action, I've got to bring the boys back in. How are we feeling today? We do have Skimmy and the Rust Dog here to bring you all the matches. So, Rusty, how you feeling? You're looking pretty spunky today there with your little black shirt.
Looking better than my hair currently is back. We're about to adjust that one as we speak. So, that's good. I mean, you said it was an exciting last week. That's interestingly true, given that we had 2 3-0s in there as well. So I'm definitely hoping that the excitement levels stay high, regardless of the games played.
Yeah, what about you, Skimmy? You enjoyed last week as well?
Yeah, look, I was getting goosebumps just watching that, right? That was such a banger series. I think it was fitting for it to end with a Praetor for Philiosa, a champion he made his name on in Season 10 last year, right? And then he was able to make that flash forward play with the ideal weapon setup and end the game on that. So, look, run it back with more series like that, quite honestly. You know, we had the Frio curse, as you already said. Give us more best of fives. Give us the full 5-game experience. That's what me and Rusty are after.
That's what we're all after. There was so much fun last week. And let's have a look at the bracket to recap where we're at, where we're going, and, you know, where we're going today as well. So, yes, you did mention a couple of 0-3s to kick things off in the playoffs. Direwolves knocked down into the lower bracket by a piece. We get to see them play against Chiefs today, who knocked Order out with that 3-0 victory as well. And then, of course, that Pentanet and Peace matchup in the upper bracket was so damn close all the way to the end. Pentanet really putting their foot down and getting back into the lead right afterwards. But look, going into today's matchup of Direwolves and Chiefs, Rusty, what are you expecting from these teams? You know, who's looking good, who's looking bad? Give me all the goss.
I mean, that's maybe the hardest question that we'll ask through this playoffs run right now, because Direwolves in the first round, you know, 0-3 against Peace, that was not the same Direwolves that we've seen, who, remember, finished above them in the standings and won a tiebreaker against Peace, so actually had the head-to-head. So looking at today, you know, Chiefs, last week they were on a tear, but there's been a whole week off. Direwolves, they got smashed, but there's been a whole week off. And if there's one thing we've learned in League of Legends playoff history, it is that an entire week off changes everything.
Certainly does. And look, an entire week off means we could be playing on the new patch, which we aren't this week. You know, still on 11.6, I believe. And we are going to look at the key picks for the jungle today as well. So, see what junglers we've been seeing all damn through the tournament. And again, it's just going to be Lilia, Udyr, Hecarim, and Olaf. So, Rusty, Skimmy, one of you want to give me the thoughts here?
You're up, Skibby.
Yeah, look, I mean, these have been the staple champions for a fair bit of time right now. You know, we were talking about speed. Speed is the name of the game right now. You've got champions that would usually go for the likes of Trinity Forces or more aggressive options. They're just building Chem Tank. They're becoming an unstoppable force, right? You're talking about Chem Tank into Dead Man's Plate, into a Force of Nature. They run at you. You can't chase them down. You can't stop them. They one-shot you. So speed is the name of the game. A lot more AD than AP junglers is what you're seeing on your screen right now, but they have the agency to be early game tempo. And I suppose the only real difference we've seen coming into a lot of these patches as time's gone by is overseas. You're starting to see more tanks like Volibear come into the fold of things as well when Udyr and Hecarim are denied. So I think we might see some more weird and wacky picks out here tonight.
Yeah, the three things that I was going to say that stand out to me is one, Nidalee's not on the list, but Nidalee does still exist, so don't be surprised if we see that chucked in there. You mentioned the Volibear, who I personally think is like a budget Hecarim, but Hecarim's been so actively banned, so we will be seeing much more Volley. And probably just tanks on the side of Chiefs, but we can get into that as we break down the team itself, but they've mixed it up.
Look, I think something else I would say is missing, which we've seen as a very crucial pick in the jungle. It's had a lot of success as well, is the Skarner. Every time that seems to be picked, it almost translates into a game one. But I guess we'll see if that is going to be picked. We did see a little bit from Chiefs using that last week, so let's see if Swathe goes that direction. Anyway, moving forward, we want to hear from you guys at home. You've sent nothing in over the last week. You know, I know you're probably busy with Easter over the weekend, so happy Easter, you know, belatedly for all you at home. But you didn't do your job. You didn't send your memes in or all the trash talk. I saw heaps of trash talk over the weekend. I was talking to Dragku. He said, "Man, your muscles look small," and I was like, "Man, what? You had to do me like that?" Oh, no, he actually told me I had really big shoulders. But look, I'm just spinning the yarn. But if you guys did have trash talk, send it in at LCO, and we will put it on stream in between all the games today. Now, that brings us one step closer to the match. No, screw that. All right, Rusty, what kind of trash talk do you want to see thrown up on screen? Go on, hit me with your best shot.
Oh, are we talking about like from fans to the players, fans to us? You know, what type of trash talk? Give me some categories here so I can think on it. It's so broad.
Yeah, fans to us would be pretty good. I actually saw a lot of trash talk towards me in particular after the show match last week, which I'm happy to move forward from as well. You know, Rammus changes coming in. I knew that, so I just wanted to test him out, send him off.
But you got the pentakill afterwards, Mac, so it's all worth. It's constructive criticism, surely.
Of course. I forgot I did that.
You know what?
I need to play more Kane.
I would say if they want to trash talk us, bring it on, because I think we've got a thick enough skid to deal with it. I wouldn't mind seeing someone actually Photoshop a caterpillar on Mac just quietly. A couple of ideas like that, maybe.
There you go. You know, he's handing out the content to you guys. You just need to make it happen at LCO. Send them over. Now, quick question before we get into the first matchup or only matchup of the day. What's your most hated skin, Rusty?
It's probably Pugmore. I have a personal vendetta against pugs, and I'm not going to go into great detail on that because this is a League of Legends broadcast. But Pugmore is my definitively most hated skid out of everything in the game. Okay, and what about you, Skimdog?
Probably DJ Sona. Whenever I see that, I think, why am I first of all playing this champion, especially now that Seraphine's out, and it also just makes me miss going out clubbing too. So, you know, maybe a bit of a boomer. I just want some rave music. I want to have that Dodo Sin, that hype Game 5 draft music. I'm trying to bob my head, get into the play-by-play action, and you see that champion get picked in solo queue, and you're thinking, that's a fast go next.
I don't know if I really have one off the top of my head. I just know that there's a lot of skins out there that are just super similar to the base skins, and because of that, I think they're, you know, a bit lackluster. You need to go for the spectacles, the ones that look good, the ones that, you know, have a purpose. Anyway, that's enough from us. Let's hear from the pros of their most hated skins.
Okay, the worst skin is the cow Alistar, or like the milk. There's like a milk Alistar, or like a cow Alistar. And every person I verse that like has that skin, they just sit there and they spam the bell thing, dink, 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 and I hate that skin, man. I can't handle it. No.
Darkstar Orianna. Like it's a cool skin. It has cool sound effects and visual effects, but I hate playing it against it because for some reason that skin, I have a very hard time tracking her ball.
It's got to either be one of the 6 Mundu skins that are really bad or Butcher Urgot.
Headhunter Nidalee has to be the worst skin because if you ever verse it, it is borderline impossible to see the spear sometimes. Like that spear is invisible, and that's why it's banned in competitive play. So I'll know after verse it in like a tournament game. But in solo queue, if you're a headhunter Lily skin abuser, you deserve to be banned for sure.
It's Mecha Jax. Even though it's the most recent, one of the most recent Jax skins, that skin has such a clumpy auto animation. I'm not even sure how it made it through, but that skin is just terrible.
The Funplax Lee Sin skin. Yeah, that one is really bad.
The worst skin in the game. It's so bad that it's good though, so I feel like it's a bit of a weird answer, but Commando Garen. He's awfully drawn, the skin is like low budget as hell, but he's got those sunnies, man, and he's rocking them. Yeah, he's crazy with the sunnies for sure, yeah.
So I think it's called Valentine's Quinn. Like everyone, like I've seen so many people use the skin, but I swear it's the ugliest skin in the game. Like it looks so bad. Maybe I'm just like blind, but I swear it's just so ugly.
So many like Huntress Civil or something, like Medieval Twitch, like just some old 300 RP skin that no one wants, probably.
Probably like Assassin Massey or something. It's just purple.
Probably Freljord Ash. I think that skin makes no sense, personally. And it's just a white version of Ash.
Spirit Bossomari.
Probably Shamrock Malphite. That needs to be updated soon. Yeah.
I've been thinking about this one lately, and I definitely think Spirit Guide Udyr at the time was really hype, but now, compared to base skin Udyr, it's just so low tier.
That Cho'Gath one, where like it's just old Cho'Gath, but the colors are changed. It's just so ugly. I don't know what to say.
Look, I almost have to fully agree with Pabu there on the Udyr skins. I was looking for one in the store the other day, and I'm looking through them all, like looking on YouTube, going, which one's the best one? And then I ended up just going, the default one's pretty decent, honestly. The other ones didn't really do it for me, so, have to agree with him there. Anything else in the video that stood out to you guys?
I think Mukau Alistar hate was pretty unjustified. I mean, he doesn't even play in the same lane as it, so I'm sure Only can move on and acknowledge that it's a good skin and just ignore the cowbell.
Yeah, the cowbell's good. I actually really like the fact that we had to end with a Mel. Talking about Nightmare Cho'Gath, I think there's still a nightmare. If he pulls that blind up and we see old mate Tim Carbon on the window, that's a nightmare in its own right. So I'm connecting the dots. I'm reading between the lines here, Mac.
I love that. I completely forgot that happened, and I want to go back and watch it now. But look, let's get into the grits. Let's talk about the teams. First off, Direwolves. They are coming from the upper bracket today. And Rusty, take us through, why are they good? And I think, Skimmy, you've got something to do with the experience here as well. But Rusty, you go first.
Sure. I mean, one of the reasons why they are good is because they just have so many good players put together. But we don't want to run with that narrative forever, because we've only just recently started to see them improve. And a lot of the key facets for that improvement was around their top laner and their jungler coming into their own in the split. They did feel like pretty slow starts overall, but Claire and Only finding their footing, actually playing some top lane champions to a high level of success up there has been a really large amount of the catalyst for Direwolves' success, because you have to remember they were already playing so well around Shock being a primary carry. So it's giving him the reinforcements there. And the experience that does come from Only and Claire will eventually get them to that point, and clearly has this season.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about experience. The stat we were looking at before, right, Mac, was you compare both of these teams as a whole, all 5 members. There's close to 1,200 games played here by the Direwolves. You compare that to the Chiefs, only about 330 between all 5 of them. So you're nearly looking at 4 times more games across all the years and the tournaments they've played and the events they've been to. So there's a bit of a discrepancy, and it's why we've really run with this narrative of this is a team that have the experience. They've got that best of 5 under their belt. And, whilst it didn't really go to plan, a clean sweep, a dominating clean sweep from Peace, mind you. When you compare these two teams head-to-head, it has been Direwolves that have had Chiefs' number so far.
It's been interesting so far as well. And, in terms of those games as well, Kisei is the least, or has the least amount of games as well. I think he's got 16 so far, as opposed to Shock's 214. So that's almost a 200 game difference just between those two, which is completely ridiculous. Same in the top lane as well. Lived, I guess, has only played 73. And, a little thing that could go well for Claire today is if we do go to 5 maps, he's actually going to be playing his 300th game, which is absolutely insane. Man's been around for a while now, so that'll be a nice little, box to check in your
6
career.
years.
Anyway, moving forward, let's quickly talk about the Chiefs as well. So the Chiefs, they are looking good. When they did play Order last week, they played probably the best we've seen them play in a while, and that's what we want from the Chiefs, Rusty.
Yeah, absolutely. The Chiefs, last week when we saw them, you have to look at what were some of the reasons as to why they were able to be as successful as they were. And they kind of reinvented their gameplay just a little bit more. We've seen shades of it through the later weeks of the regular season. But Kisei does seem to be the carry of Chiefs. And now the team is playing around exactly that fact, right? We've started to see tanks in top lane, tanks in the jungle role from Swaith, who's notoriously a carry player, and a lot of roaming and movement from Dragku to assist in mid lane, while Mboma plays these self-sufficient carry or support champions like Seraphine that you're seeing in the bottom lane. And the game is get Kisei fed, and he's got the mechanics to do the rest of the work in team fights himself. And the people that are helping him get fed are the experienced members on the team.
Yeah, and we've seen it happen already before, right? The mismatch, you could almost call it, in the bot lane between Mboma and Drake. We saw them go for the traditional 2v2, looking to try and find those fights, but Drake mentioned, look, I want to be aggressive, I want to be doing as much as I can, whereas Mboma's quite content just to farm away, and we saw that quite prevalently in the Order series. You talk about Seraphine into double Ezreal games, can leave him on an island, can play 1v2, allows Drake to roam on this favored rail pick, shows his face mid, links up with Swaith, forms the Bermuda Triangle of, like, you're just going to disappear on this part of the map, and assassinated anybody that was in their way. So I think there are definite similarities between the teams, but those biceps, I think they have to be the MVP of it all.
I'm just waiting for one of these supports as well to pick that Alistair skin we were talking about as well, and just start spamming the cowbell just because of the video, And it's just going to be such a banger of a game as well. I really hope we get to see maybe some Heimerdinger in there as well, which would allow Dragku to go for those roams, go for the heavy presence, just annoying mid as well, which is what we saw, we haven't seen for, I think, since week 1. That Heimer just keeps on getting banned away, and we keep seeing Mboma as well just not be allowed to go towards that champ.
We've seen it twice, I think, Skimmy, in maybe the second week 1 game, but definitely in the first week for sure. I do think that Mboma's found some other, I would say better versions of it for what it's worth. Seraphine simply existing is generally just the better version of it. And Ezreal, which is a champion that only really Mboma plays to great success right now. Gunkrab, can play it. I was going to say Cupcake. Gunkrab can play it. And maybe a contested pick in this series, and that's a very specific thing to only this series. So it's very much an Mboma, play your self-sufficient things. I think Ezreal's the best for him.
Yeah, I think you're looking at this matchup. I feel like it's going to be a big emphasis on mid-jungle to try and find strength. Mid in particular, you've got the experience in Shock, you've got that rookie hunger in Kisei, but both have shown that they hold the biggest degree of the team's overall damage. You then look at 2 very aggressive roaming supports in Cupcake and Dragku. Both seem to have gone completely different directions every single game. If you look at the match history here, 6 of the last 8 for Cupcake have just been Alistair. You look at the same then for Dragku and the Chiefs, and 4 of his last 8 have all been the Rel. We see this be that classic bot lane handshake where they'll do their thing together. They can counter or skill check one another, but both will be looking to be as aggressive as possible. And I'm really keen to see how that dynamic comes to the forefront as to who can roam better, who has better timing on vision and control and map state as a whole.
Well, let's see if that macro comes to fruition. Speaking of macros, Nat, you use macros when you play, right? To do a bunch of different things with your buttons. I don't, because you see what happens when I don't. I just feed. So maybe you've got the good ideas here. Anyway, look, Nat's here from the side lanes. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I thought that was so cute, Draku's muscle flex in the replay. I know we saw it like last week, but I think re-seeing it was just so good to see how ecstatic Chiefs were in their win. So it was very cute, and I'm very excited to see what they have to bring today to the tables.
A whole lot of energy shown in those player cams. Hopefully we get a bit more of that. And who do you have down on the side lanes for the pre-match interview?
I'm going to be talking to Swaith and Only. Thank you both so much for joining me. Only, I want to start with you, and I want to ask, how has the team been bouncing back from a 3-0 loss last week and now coming into lower bracket?
Yeah, so it is tough to bounce back from a 0-3. You sort of have to, when you win, it's very easy to just ride that wave of confidence, and positivity is just so high. Everyone's really happy. When you lose, it's sort of the complete flip side. You have to dig really deep to sort of figure out like why you believe you can win and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what this week was about. It was just sort of digging really deep, having the hard conversations, and sort of starting again, pretty much what we did like earlier in the split when we were struggling, you know, which might not be something you want to do when you're in playoffs, but you know, the conversations had to be had, and you know, we believe we can win. We wouldn't like be here if we didn't believe we could win. So yeah, really hopeful for today. So
I'm excited to hear that you guys have been, you know, having a conversation. You're coming in, you know, still with high spirits. You said just then that, sorry, I just lost my mind. But you guys talked about how your start to regular season was really rough. You had crazy momentum. You came in second place. Where do you think it went? Because it did not seem like the Direwolves that we were used to at the end of regular seasons coming into last week's matchup.
yeah, well, like I'm not gonna front, like I won't lie. We got humbled by Peace last week. When one team plays really good and the other team plays bad, it ends up being a very non-competitive, like best of 5, and that's what it was. You know, we got stomped. So I don't know. You know, we like I'm not sure where it went wrong. I think just the wrong Direwolves came out that day, and you know, Peace played well, so. We got stomped. That's pretty much how it is with, I think, all the top 4 teams, except for PGG, who consistently seem to win. But you know, with all the top 4 teams, if one of them's not hot, then the other team would just like sort of run over them, and like that's what happened with us. So yeah, we're starting again. Chiefs are probably riding a high, and it's our job to stop that now. So
I'm looking forward to see what Direwolves have turned up today. Then, Swathe. Only already said it, but it's the complete other spectrum for you guys. You guys are coming off the back of winning 3-0 out of the best of 5 last week. So where's that team confidence at? Where's your headspace coming into today's matchup?
Yeah, so obviously, yeah, it's kind of the reverse of that. Everyone's like feeling pretty happy coming off the last series. It's not quite the same. Like the series wasn't quite as competitive as like say versus Peace, so we're not like letting it go to our heads necessarily. But I think practice has been really good, and yeah, like all the boys are like confident in being able to put on a good performance today.
You had an insane personal performance last week. I'm pretty sure you only died once out of the 3 games. How do you feel having a performance like that last week, coming into a matchup where you guys haven't won a game against Direwolves yet?
Yeah, like we haven't beaten any of the top teams in regular season, and I think that's just symptomatic of like regular season Chiefs not being able to show up on stage. But playoff Chiefs are a completely different beast. I would say they're much more in line with how we practiced, and like our potential, I would say. So we're not really like worried about versing any of the other top 4 teams, and I think that we can like take it to all of them.
What's going to be your main focus? What's going to be your main focus today, Swathe, to ensure you guys can take down one of the top 4 teams?
Like personally, I would say keeping Cupcake on lockdown, because I think he's kind of the wild card for Direwolves. Him and his roams mid lane. So as long as like he's subdued, I think that like yeah, it's gonna be like a lot easier.
Only, what about you? What's going to be your main focus? And are you hurt that Swathe didn't say that you were going to be their main target?
Nah, I don't know, ban Skarner or something. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, not too focused on them, more focused on just us playing well, but Skarner OP, I guess we'll see.
I'm looking forward to it. The last quick question I want to ask you both, only what do you think is going to be the predictions for this game? How many games do you think you're going to go to, and what's going to be the scoreline at the end of it?
I think it'll be a 3-1. I think Chiefs are very momentum based. I think if they lose, it's 3-0. If they win a game, we have a chance of coming back. If they lose game 1, it's kind of doomed. 3-1.
And Swathe, what about you? Where do you think it's going to end up?
Yeah, I would say a 3-0 or a 3-1 too. And I think whoever drops game 1 is going to lose.
Gosh, well, we're all in game 1 then. Best comps.
This is it. You guys are riding the series all based on game 1. Look, I'll let you go, and I'll let you get ready for this game. Thank you both so much for joining me, and good luck.
Cheers, GG.
You say
They have
GG?
it.
That was
Yeah,
really
he
early.
did.
He's
He's
a little
gaming.
bit of BM.
He's already like, we've got game 1 wrapped up, and we both agree whoever wins game 1 is winning the series.
Oof. Well, let's see if that's how it goes. Surely it won't. I reckon this is going to go more than 3. these two teams, you know, although last couple of times they have played, every time Chiefs has lost. So you need to be looking towards DW here. They've been playing very well recently, but, you know, they haven't played Chiefs when Chiefs are playing well. So that could be the tide turner. Now let's head towards the predictions. You know, which way have you guys lent for this matchup today? Anyone want to be putting the hand up first? You know, any takers?
Surely roll the same.
I'll say it was really difficult. I think Only was right. Chiefs are a very momentum-based, like, players. I don't know why I said gamers. But, you know, coming off of such a dominant performance against Order, I really wanted to, like, vote for them and predict them, but I think Direwolves are the team that can really focus on themselves and come a full 180 and just, you know, potentially have a 3-0 series in their favor.
Well, I've just gone for Chiefs, you know, underdog bias, drag coup bias, look, all that, you know, all bias caster right here. That's what I got told I was anyway, all of yesterday. So I'm going to own it. I'll be biased the whole day. You know, yeah, Chiefs, let's go. I got a Chiefs jersey, which I probably won't be able to put on, but it's from, you know, the old jacket they used to run? The, like the baseball jacket?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I actually really like that one. Now, hopefully we get to see how close this one comes as well. Direwolves, they're looking good, and Only I still want to reach out to him and say, how long until we can get you on the desk with that voice of a bloody angel?
You wish, man. He's too busy playing League of Legends. You'd have to actually hope he gets eliminated. I'll say that. I'm not hoping that at all because we've tipped Direwolves. I want to up the ante, Mac. I really want us to do map scores for bonus points. I feel like the opportunity in best of fives is there, and we haven't done it yet.
Yeah, it certainly could be. You know, if we do go to the 3-1, you could get the triple points, or maybe, I don't know, you predict for the 5 mappers, then you get the 5 points.
I'm
I don't know. Which way do you think it's going?
You don't want to do it, Mac. I mean, this is your chance to get back in. Imagine if you got all of the map scores right.
He's back to 99-0 again, right? He's just back to the perfect ending.
I was on 100-0 the other day, and I don't know what happened to that. So I think production screwed up my scores. I'm still pretty even there. It's looking pretty good. But look, if you want to figure out if you're genetically superior or inferior to yourself on a daily basis, you can go to Esports Assessment Labs and test yourself. You know, you can go check your reaction time, you know, just, you know, karate chops, etc. I'm sure there's maybe some kind of test over there to check your cognitive ability as well. Mine seems to be going out the window with my old age. So I think it's good for me to jump on there, start to use it, make sure I track the slow, like, degeneracy of my brain.
I think it's also good to jump on, do the test, and then at Rusty with your score, and he'll tell you if you're better than him or not in some of the areas.
Trick question, no one is better than me at any areas.
Well, I guess the only way to find out is to add him on Twitter with your with your results.
Or watch back a couple of weeks where I get roasted by Nat while I'm not on. Whatever
now
you prefer.
Now I'm doing it to your face so you can defend yourself.
Look, he wasn't able to fight for himself, and that's just not on Nat. You can't do that. It's just like, you know, when I say Elfish Guy is bad at League of Legends. He's not here to defend himself, to say, Mac, we all saw what you did in the show match. You don't have any platform to stand on. And look, that's exactly how to go. Anyway, we do have a couple of tweets that have been thrown up. So, you know, thank you very much for whoever the hell has made these. Let's have a quick look. Aiden Hiko, what is up here? Here is some trash talk at Mac, mate. What? Who let you on stream without a Hawaiian shirt? Well, funny story. Had one on. Skimmy didn't have one that was clean, so we couldn't go with the look today.
Yeah, look, I don't have as much personality as you, Mac. You're just too crazy in the clothing department. Maybe he's got a bit of a shopping spree, perhaps before finals. That's that's my go-to. Because, look, I had a shirt, but it was probably a little bit too crazy. And I thought, look, you know, it's finals.
Too crazy?
Let's bring it back just a little bit to the professional angle. So, look, yeah, I'll be devil's advocate. I made you take your clothes off, Mac.
Oh, what?
There you go, man. There's the banter for you.
It's just Skimmy's charm. He just does it to Mac.
Certainly does. Now, we do have one more tweet as well before we get into the game, after I was left speechless. I thought it was... Anyway, look, I won't talk about me taking my clothes off. It's something. My least favorite skin is striped pajamas, Mac. Did you just call these pajamas? I can go change shirt. I'm going to go change shirt now. I'll do it after the game started, though.
It seems that Aiden's a big advocate for the Hawaiian look.
Okay.
Are you wearing striped pajamas?
Well, I'm not. It's a striped shirt, but they're not pajamas. But
He's a
just called
pirate.
them
That's
striped
pirate's
pajamas.
linen right there. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Well, you said I look like a pirate as well. Now you just think
do.
we all look like pirates.
Yes, I'm flanked by pirates. 100%. I reckon they're both pirate outfits. He's got linen. It's going to crinkle up. Natural pirate outfit. Jack Sparrow over here. You've got puffy outfits all over the place. Come on.
Well, look, the people have called for it, and the people will be rewarded. I am going to go change shirts while this game's on. But ladies and gentlemen, game one coming at you right now. Direwolves and Chiefs, let's kick things off.
Let's kick this thing off here, Rusty. It is a monumental moment for these two teams. So much success and history between them, right? 75 games total played over the years, dating all the way back to 2015. Two very storied organizations with multiple championship titles having been accrued during that period of time. But we jump into this one, and only one of these teams can survive. Only one of these teams can continue their journey towards the inaugural LCO Grand Finals.
No Mukau Alistar allowed in game number one here as well, Skimmy. And remember, if you didn't hear the interview between the players, the stakes are so high in game number one that the series is determined from just this, according to both players that were there at Only and Sway. Not, of course, the case, but it is an important game for momentum, and that's the key factor here. So Chiefs have kicked their draft off by banning Thresh. So again, 100% pick ban rate. Thresh, all bans, to be clear. And Alistar away from Cupcake. It is his most played 6 of his last 8. So looking forward to seeing what the next option will be for the Cuppers in bot lane. Being red side as well, so they could have a counter if they would like.
Yeah, no surprises there, right? You know, we went into this one highlighting that both those support players love to go for those two particular champions. So now going to try and dive a little bit deeper into their creative mix of what's available. As for the Chiefs, they're going to open up their account here with the Hecarim once more. No crazy Skarner picks or the likes of a Sejuani just yet. Let's just lock in place these guaranteed tempo junglers that have proven to be so successful over the course of the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Hecarim being left up and available, though, I think the few times that we have seen the Hecarim enabled, it's been very successful, and was one of those champions that I was starting to lean towards these should just be banned as the priority of the jungler's options. But against the Chiefs, Nocturne does seem to be one of those staple choices, and the Rel being gone as well does really limit the pool. And the fact that the Chiefs have gone for a Victor third here, instead of perhaps a support champion, opens up, and this is optional. Direwolves don't necessarily have to do it third, they could do it fourth. Support bans into a support pick.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting, as you say, the reason they've locked this one in so early. We talk about mid-matchup being so crucial for these two teams, and if Shock is given an opportunity to get counter-pick, what does that actually mean in terms of his veteran status? You're looking at now the fact that supports can now be taken out even further, and we might be stretching it to a point where the tanks are gone, and we're now having to deal with enchanters instead.
I mean, we've still got the Galio that we've seen from Aladoric. Rakan exists, and we know that Draco could play it, but there's no Xayah that's going to be going with that for either team. Galio was paired with Jinx, so just chucking that one out there as a combo. Gragas is definitely something that we've seen from Draco. He was actually a hard carry in game number 1 against Order last week when we saw them. So I guess the main point here is there's definitely options, but if we're looking at the identity of Cupcake and Dragku, the ability to be a tanky champion that can roam out of lane is a pretty crucial facet of their gameplay. And, you know, that starts to lean me towards the direction of, like, maybe we actually consider the Cupcake Bard. You know, it isn't perfect with the Jinx, but it exists as an option.
What a time Kench has been removed, so definitely getting into that territory of, from what I can already see from the Chiefs, go forward. You're pushing for kills. You're not looking to play slow. You're not looking to welcome the opposition into that engage angle. You want to be the ones being aggressive, which is very much true to the narrative that has come around the Chiefs. It's what we saw them do in their last playoff match, and it proved to be very successful. So the time Kench can obviously deter a fair bit of that. Wukong now is going to be a respect ban towards Lived, and I suppose now is the next part of this question, right? We talk about Claire and his evolution. It started off with, you know, Karma in the top lane, then he started to go from the likes of a one-trick Anar, then he had his fun as the Camille. Big emphasis now, you can imagine, to make sure that Claire finds his most desirable matchup here.
Yeah, Wukong is one of those champions that has been seen a little bit internationally, not so much here locally. So it is a decent ban. If you're looking to play a carry in top lane, you know, removes a potential kill threat champion. Sion being banned with that though, so they also considered banning, you know, the weak side Titan champs in top. Ornn, something that Lived could default to if he just wants to play the tanks. So it does seem like there was just 2 specific picks that they wanted to take away. And if you've been watching, you know, the LCK, for example, the Korean League, Sion has just been ridiculous. He's just unstoppable, and I think does deserve a ban, 4 or 5.
Yeah, for sure. Certainly does. We talk about the Na, and there it is. Arguably Claire's most successful champion, rocking a 75% win rate across the 4 games he's played so far. We'll get to see what the response is here from Chiefs, who, mind you, have continued their bans towards the bottom lane, really trying to remove as much protection as possible. You talk about the Tahm Kench, first of all, the Frostbite passes then from the Braum 2. And just make sure that they don't have any deterrence tools available to them. So it'll be interesting to see what that final 5th pick here will be for the Direwolves to aid them
Gragas
with a little bit of disengage.
Sense. I mean, you've already banned the Tahm Kench and the Braum. This works as a combo with the Hecarim. Kai'Sa can also follow up on your Galio Grand Entrance. But at the same time, you know, Gragas was a champion that potentially had some merit there. Nevertheless, we look at Cupcake. You know, we mentioned this in the first pick of the draft phase, Skimmy, but supports being a focus in the ban phase. From 1, 2, and 3, it was not surprising to see them go till later in the draft as potential counters, and I want to say as expected.
Yeah, and I think this is good, right? Because you already talk about the fact that both these support players want to roam. Dracu can obviously cheat there with his ultimate to get to mid lane. And in Cupcake, we'll have the amazing mobility, right? With the Magical Journey, the Tempered Fate as well to deter those potential dive threats that might be coming out. And that could be their turn switch that Chiefs were so desperately trying to remove in that ban phase.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, Galio can cheat and be much faster getting 2 lanes if he's able to leave at the same time as the Bard. Bard is obviously a faster champion in the river. You know, wants to be able to move fast, get those chimes, and just start sprinting around. We already spoke about the potential, you know, it's not exactly the safest bot lane 2v2 from Gunkrab and Cupcake. Jinx usually wants to have a bit of support, you know, that's why the Tahm Kench and Braum were removed, not just for the Chiefs comp, but also to take that safety net away from Gunkrab. And Bard's just going to abandon you a lot of the time. The Bard ultimate can be influential and help win a team fight. It could do the opposite. So now you've chucked a wild card into the mix. And I think based off what Swaith said before the game, Skimmy, they haven't removed the wild card of Cupcake and Draft. So now they're going to have to do it through play.
Certainly are going to have to do it through play, because if you talk about Cupcake, one of those champions that he's synonymous with has to be that Bard. It's a champion he's made his name on. He's only seen it played once. Much in part to the meta that has unfolded here, where engaged supports are definitely at the top of the tier list, but looking to showcase what he can do coming into game number 1. Will momentum be the key factor here? Well, both teams from that pre-game interview seem to feel like that was the case anyway. If we learn anything also, if we flip our attention out to the top side of the map, Lived when he played Ornn, he gave them so many scaling options to play around. He held his own in lane, but then when it came to the team fights, he's able to buff up his team that much more.
Yeah, Lived has been a pretty solid player for them. Swaith going back to a bit of those carries as well. Still a tank champion overall, however, is that Hecarim. My big concern, like if you're Direwolves, you're looking at the Chiefs roster, what is scary for you? It's pretty hard to deal with a Victor as an Udyr. It's pretty hard to stick onto a Kai'Sa as an Udyr if you're by yourself. And Galio obviously has a really big form of zoning with an Ornn ultimate come team fights. So a lot of this to me is while their comp works really nicely in a front to back sense here on the Direwolves side, you've got the Jinx who stands behind the Azir, who stands behind the Gnar and then the Udyr. That all checks out. But how are they actually going to keep those carries alive with the long-range engage tools and massive distance that can be covered by Chiefs?
Plenty of distance to cover, and especially in the best of 5, just like this. Hopefully it does go to distance, but I'm sure one player, one coach in particular, that's hoping it doesn't go to distance is Coach Farmer from the Direwolves. How are you, bro?
Good, yeah, definitely want a 3-0 on our side. No doubts there.
No doubt about it. Hey, talk to me a little bit about last week, right? So you come into it, you've had the tiebreaker match against Peace, really strong showing there. You didn't get, as only put, humbled by them. What does a week break between now and then look like for you guys?
Yeah, look, I'd love to say that like bouncing back after a series like that was as easy as a NeoSurf transaction, but really it did take some time and it took a lot of analysis of our processes. So I think we've now we've made the realizations that we needed to, and we've implemented the processes to avoid a situation like that happening again. And I think we're really confident, really focused, and just drilled in. Yeah.
we saw obviously from the Chiefs series how momentum-based they were. They got that first one on the ball, translated into a game 2, and by game 3, like a bit of a blowout. Do you look at your team as a very much momentum-based team as well? We always talk about how much experience they have. We mentioned it on the panel before, how there's about nearly 4 times as many collective games between the Direwolves and the Chiefs. Do you look at this as a case of if we get game 1 under wraps, this is our series to take for sure?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are really good at putting our foot on their throats, but I also think that you know, last week really showed just how powerful momentum is, and when we lost the momentum in the first game of our series, it definitely put a stop to our progress. And then now we basically, like I said, put in the processes to ensure that if, for example, we were to lose this first game, we would be absolutely fine with just bouncing back. So I think, if we win, we'll get big momentum, but if we lose, we'll just be moving on to the next game, and yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I mentioned from one of the videos you posted, right, about the adaptations that need to take place on the day. Obviously, easier said than done, and prep can obviously facilitate that a little bit. But look at the draft that we saw here. Big emphasis on targeting both support players, removing their impact. You know, we're seeing the Galio on their end and the coveted Bard from Cupcake this time. Did you feel like that was going to be the angle this draft would go?
I think it's pretty funny that they must be scared. Look at all the sub fans. It's crazy. I think that we're very happy. We're very comfortable with having Cupcake drop late. He's always been a big proponent of countering their entire comp if he can, and he felt like the Bard pick was really good here. And you know, it's just a confidence thing, right? The players in this situation, the players just really wanted it, and it looks good on paper. So sure, let's go for it.
And go for it, you will, no doubt. I'm excited to see what happens here. On a final note, the floor is yours. Is there anything you want to say to all the LCO fans watching out there?
Yeah, thanks so much to our fans for, you know, helping us along and supporting us. Again, we're gonna get that trophy for you guys, so yeah, look out for it.
Look out for it, for fans and for the sponsors as well. Thank you so much, Palmer, as always, for joining us, and talk soon. All right, Rusty. What have we missed so far? I saw First Blood go the way of Direwolves, but apart from that, a bit of action.
Yeah, I mean, First Blood goes towards the Direwolves bot side red buff entrance. It was a nice little pick from them overall. And we've got another opportunity top for some damage.
Certainly do. Only popping his head in towards top side. Actually burns 2 flashes, so Liv will be down in that in lane phase. Might have to burn this TP as well because the lane is pushing against him. Actually going to decide to hang around here. There's one more biscuit left in the pocket as we welcome back the volume and the excitement that comes with game 1 here. But that's a little bit of early aggression put towards the top side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. If you're going to use your flash to threaten top lane, trade with Lived, then you're definitely looking to return back towards that top lane. And if you look at the minimap right now, there is a Bard who, on his first reset, is top.
We've seen this happen so many times before. So keen to roam the map. There he is, pops the exhaust, locks him in place. The stun is there. The double stun is there. The Guardian will proc, but the only Guardian you need is a friend to help you survive. He's going to fall on down. A cross-map play here as Sway pops his head into mid lane. But a flash away from Shock ensures that he won't fall down either.
I mean, they cannot keep Cupcake down if the roams that he is making look like that, right? Nice little play, expected, you would say, but how are you going to actually avoid dying in that situation when they're ganking you from your own side of the map and your jungler's on your side of the map, so you feel a little bit safer than you would otherwise be. Unfortunately for the Chiefs, falling into the hands of the Direwolves and their nice little map movements, Gunkrab needs to be quite respectful right now as the wave is building back up.
Certainly is building up. Instantly pops that cleanse to make sure it doesn't get locked in place. Trade not looking to go against him right now. As Direwolves looking to try and put a bit of aggression out themselves. They lose vision, pop down the wards, but the distance gained is too far for Cosmic Binding to connect.
Yeah, they're not going to get the kill. They do still get the cleanse off a Gunkrab, so they can look for the flash taunt type plays. All of that is, of course, reliant on where your strong side of the map will be. Right now, Direwolves have complete control overall. You know, harkening back to that First Blood, both junglers were realistically looking for those level 4 clear style of moves, and the way that the waves were set up, bot lane was going to be in prime position to have an Udyr gank it. And so the fact that a Hecarim dies near that Raptor camp shows that perhaps mid-priority, which is something I didn't get to see too much of, was going heavily the way of Direwolves, which makes sense in this matchup. So overall, the early game draft has gone very well for the Wolfpack and has played out exactly as you would hope.
And that's what we were wondering, right, going into this one. We know how keen Chiefs are to get those objectives on lockdown. They've got the highest percentile of taking those early Heralds. They definitely play towards that side of the map more so than the Dragon. But you can see from the vision control already that the Direwolves are much more interested on the Dragon. Multiple control walls. They've got themselves the Scuttle Crab down there too. Making sure that Lived, who is running this Unsealed Spellbook, won't have that TP available. Much more lane focused if they were to play towards that side.
100%. We're now looking at this second red buff of the game. Level advantage for only, but being 6-5 doesn't give any meaningful advantages. There's no ultimate that can be used, so they do respect numbers there. Kisei moving where Shock is not.
Oh, that is going to be the exhaust burnt very early on. Maybe just looking to try and cycle through another option as they get themselves geared up for that that next team fight. Back with the TP. That will be up and available very shortly, but looked quite adventurous for him to go for that kill and to clear there.
Yeah, also choosing the Ignite. Sorry, the exhaust over the Ignite. You know, a lot of people will hit that 6-minute mark. They'll choose to go Ignite for kill threat. And he goes exhaust for that opportunity, perhaps just to keep him in range when he hits Mini. But, I mean, it was successful regardless of the choice. And still, though, actually, we've got both junglers moving up here. This could be a very dangerous situation.
Certainly could be. Claire has flash, soon to hit Mega, getting very close towards it, needs to bop away from the knockup. Gets hit by 2, gonna fall on down before the fight can even take place. Only's here without a flash. He needs a dash, he needs a hope, he needs a dream. He may just live a fraction longer. They're buffering the turret aggro, just gonna fall on down. It's a shutdown and 2 kills for Swaith.
Cupcake, though, will be able to get one back. The unseen Bard may be the deadliest, but it was still a winning fight for Chiefs overall. Shutdown gold. Jinx ultimate going to go wide there as well. But Swaith 100% putting himself back into this game and accelerated with that shutdown bonus gold. Has a shutdown himself. Very well done there by the Chiefs, and it was just a case of timing. You know, looking back on that, it was just a little bit faster from Chiefs. They're engaged just a little bit longer, and it was still a mini nerf for Claire. He wasn't able to hit the Mega. Nicely done, nicely executed.
He'll be angry at that one, right? If he watches that VOD back, hit the 50-50 bounce into the direction of the R2, gets knocked up, unable to even hit the Mega to maybe buffer his health bar just a little bit longer. No, Only sniffing out trouble. Going to step across that gravity trap. Not going to be locked in place just yet, but it's the Direwolves deploying as a 3-man unit, trying to steal away the blue buff. It hasn't been secured, but there's the stun, there's the shove back, and there's the target acquired.
I mean, Cupcake definitely didn't need to get that kill. I think that may have even been a red buff. It was a nice little Azir shuffle to try and secure the kill for himself. Swaith was looking at the Gromp, but there's just too many people still around. And of course, Claire forcing that priority walking through the turret and top just in case. Direwolves immediately bounce back. A 2-0-1 Bard. He is the talking point right now because he's working with Only and they're getting it all done.
I mean, look how much he's already done in such a short amount of time, 10 minutes into this game. And he's nearly at 100% kill participation. He is the one short who's got that gold already, but he is definitely the factor of looking to keep Chiefs locked down and not have free run on the map, as they have done so successfully in the past. Quick note on both of these junglers continuing to play towards this top side, as Swaith actually double backs and says, you stole away our blue. Maybe I'll steal away your red. Waiting for smite range.
Neither have smite.
And, well...
He just hits Phoenix and takes it anyway. If Swaith had smite, that was obviously a free red buff, but that was just a little bit cloudy overall from both of them. One thing I want to talk about as well, Skimmy, because we haven't had a lot of chance to really look at it, is Guncrab down in bottom lane has found himself 25 CS ahead. And it feels like we've seen Cupcake everywhere. It doesn't feel like we've seen too much of Dragku. He has been active though. And it seems like as a result of that activity from the supports, once again, and I feel like to no one's surprise, Mboma is sacrificed to fall down a little bit. It's just that the Direwolves are winning elsewhere as well as having that CS lead in bottom. So they're doing exceptional work around the whole map.
It's a really good talking point, right? Because this is pretty much against the grain, almost flipping the script of what we're used to, where Mboma is the one left to the 1v2, and it is Dragku that's roaming, but it has been Cupcake that's been a little bit more omnipresent so far, and Guncrab secure and stable enough to say, well, I can still get ourselves a huge lead. We'll just win twice for it on the map. Speaking of first Dragon, soon to become the second, as they have 2 members smashing down the Ocean Drake.
Okay. Ocean Drake will fall, but the cost is now extremely high. Remember that Swaith has that Herald ready to be summoned right there, I believe. And that should be timed nicely with a plate having already been taken. It does mean that a few more plates are going to fall. It's not going to be done for the most efficient charge. Mid.
GSA could be in trouble. Flashes still gets hit by the bear stun, but far too protected underneath that turret. Just trying to buy themselves time. Top lane is pushing, bot lane is aggressive. Cupcake dives through the portal, and Bowman sneaks it away. But it's Dracu that gets the killing blow, and these supports are so damn fed, Rusty.
I mean, yeah, they definitely are. Both AD carries are just passengers to what is the support lane the way it should be, Skimmy. But don't let my influence as a support main change that opinion. Shut down, give it over to Dracu. And the active, moving, rotating supports are now going to be very fed coming into these early fights. It means they'll have their mythics sooner, which is obviously a very influential factor. But we have to talk about Swaith, who once again, successfully finds Claire in top lane. And this is, as far as the LCO games are concerned, 4 games in a row now where Claire has fallen behind in his laning phase and has suffered. Of course, it's at the hands of a jungler this time, but he's still struggling.
Certainly is, and it's interesting because I looked at some of his stats going into this one just from the regular season alone, and in his own role he had the highest damage per minute, the highest CS difference at 15, same for the XP difference at 15, but in recent games gone by it has felt a little bit confusing to see that solo kills are going across against him, and teams are definitely aware of that and able to bully the fact. The amount of pressure that Swaith's put towards top side rewards them with a sizable amount of gold from their Herald, and now a turret soon to fall.
Lots of pressure in this bottom lane, looking to try and take some plates down themselves. In a sense, this has equalized what has happened top lane with that Herald summoning. And if you look towards top lane for just a second, you'll see a Hecarim moving there on the minimap as well. And it's on for Claire.
Claire, once again, the focus. This is deja vu. It's happening on repeat. It is a nightmare, and it's Claire that's living in it. He's going to fall down again. And whilst the Direwolves push to take down the bot tier 1, it's going to be the Chiefs that claim the top tier 1.
I mean, yeah, the poor guy barely gets to play League of Legends. He's just being hard focused by the side of the Chiefs. For what it's worth, however, he should be more sitting under his turret while his team is on the bottom side of the map playing for the outer turret themselves. Definitely is being respectful, but against an Ornn and a Hecarim, especially once the chem tank is on, you have to actually, I want to say that there's a better place for him to stand, but ultimately there isn't. You just lose. It's just losing. And maybe the answer is don't be in lane. I don't know. That feels terrible to say.
It certainly does feel terrible to say. Is worth noting, though, as much as you early on into this cast brought up the fact that Guncrab was accelerated, he's basically taken that statement and run with a win. Now up by 40 CS. He's got more than anybody in this game. He's going to have himself a crack and slay on a whole bunch of damage. And it's actually his most successful champion, if you look at Guncrab.
For sure.
Played 3 games, 100% win rate, and a 45 KDA. The guy just doesn't die.
Yeah, I mean, he has been very good on his Jinx. And contrasting that to the other side here for Mboma, I don't think we've seen too much success from him on champions like the Kai'Sa. This is one of those comps where it could be successful, but he's already obviously fallen quite behind in farm. But you've got 3 tanks and a 4th person with crowd control to augment your passive, so you can do a lot of damage to members here. There are definitely tools. It's just that we're seeing, this feels like an earlier week's Chiefs, right? We've got Swaith being the carry, and then we've got Mboma just dealing with the L in bottom lane. Kisei playing a farming mid laner, not going for the hard carry option, will scale nicely as a mage still, but this is closer to the Zoe Kisei than it is the Yone or the Lucian.
Certainly is, and certainly is a champion that once it gets to that mid to late game, 2-item spike will be one that can pump out some very respectful damage, and might be the turning point that both teams are looking for, the source of power that could determine the outcome of this very first game. Both teams now flirting with danger inside the enemy jungle, both showcasing what they can do because there's dragons soon to spawn up in 40 seconds.
Yeah, a lot of the posturing now is going to be for the Drake. Good vision established from the Direwolves, however, so Chiefs to be able to get in here and contest it, it is going to be a difficult task that may take some time. Claire is also bottom lane, so in terms of their lane assignments, they are fully set up to be here for the objective. Lived being on the close side of the map, however, not looking to use his teleport is a sign that he wants to throw the horn up. They are looking for a fight, Chiefs.
They certainly are. That's going to be Shock hitting a Shurima Shuffle, looking to try and dodge over. Flash goes out early. Double stacking the ultimates onto Guncrab. He's just going to fall on down. It's a shutdown. 5-2-0 now with Swave's Hecarim. He's strong. A second easy pick is some Boma that removes the Direwolves jungler. And what do Direwolves have left? Mega is there. Will he go for the 1v5 shove? Do they even have to follow up? They got the Empress Divide. They could push him under tower, but so early on, they're not willing to take that risk.
Yeah, and the Chiefs rightly so recognizing that fact. However, Skimmy are going to try and disengage through mid lane back towards the Drake. They've earned themselves a good team fight victory. They've earned themselves the ability to slow down Direwolves just taking an early soul, and it's an Infernal Soul at that. So this is a really crucial dragon take for them. Really crucial timing in the game. Jinx Ultimate not going to be there to actually steal that one back. And a lot of this, to me, is just about respecting the engage range of the Chiefs. Ornn missing on the map. He's going to be there. If he is there, the engage range is in the thousands of units that you can cover. Swaith has the Ghost, has the Chem Tank, and with his charge, can cover a ridiculous amount of distance. All of these things taken into account, Guncrab gets caught. You know, he doesn't have a lot of support in his team to keep him alive. There's no one to stop a Hecarim from charging too successfully. Just dies, and then it doesn't matter how far ahead you are if you're Guncrab. You're irrelevant.
Yeah, especially when Cleanse is not available, and just how successful has this top jungle synergy between the Chiefs been so far? Every single time they've thrown out their ultimates, they've guaranteed themselves success. Kills upon kills. It's made Claire's life a living hell on top lane, and now translated into the mid portions of the match where you're looking to find fights over objectives. It's finding success once again. So keep our eyes peeled as to how that translates going further on into this one. But as it stands, there is a Herald available, and it looks like Chiefs are trying to find themselves enough map pressure to assert control of it.
Yeah, they're on the hunt looking for kills, and they found Only. Will have to flash his way out to safety. And so they basically earn themselves full control of the Herald Pit. This is usually, so mid-game lane assignments. People probably know what that is by now. For anyone who isn't aware, the shorthand of it is that the AD carry and the support go mid lane. Now imagine your Guncrab. Your support is never there. If he is, he's nearby, but he's not actually on top of you. He's a bard. He's off with the fairies. I know I'm a bard main. You've now got a Hecarim charging at you from anywhere, literally anywhere, and you die. So scary.
All right, because the Tempered Fate actually locks Shock in place of all. People probably hoping that wasn't the case. Guncrab takes out in Bowman. Both AD carries looking to do whatever they can, but it's going to be the Direwolves that have the damage just a little bit more so far. Kitsei takes out Shock. Mid lane is flexing their power, and it's Guncrab that removes Swaith. He gets himself a shutdown, hits the zap, trying to kite this Ornn, running, protecting, hoping that Cupcake can hit a stun, can hit anything to get him out of harm's way. The camera follows, the blast cone denies, and now it's Lived, find themselves, well, stuck in the enemy jungle. Going for a bit of a staggered death, it would seem.
Yeah, I mean, the inevitable fate will be that he falls down. It was just a matter of time. He's going to try maybe to take Guncrab with him, but it's not going to happen. The Super Mega Death Rocket is there. And just as we speak about Guncrab, the opposite of the curse happens, Skibby. It's a miracle. He actually goes off in the team fight, kites the Hecarim brilliantly, and is able to survive for so long. Cupcake was nearby, though, because it was Direwolves making the play. And that is the key difference, right? The Bard ultimate hits it and kicks it all off with an Azir shuffle. This time around, the Chiefs aren't the ones engaging, and look at the fight's result.
Interesting to note how different these two teams are looking to posture for these fights and what they can really represent as a whole. We talk about obviously what Jinx can do with her ultimate, not only in a team fight, but for denying objectives, even if it is those 50-50 handshakes that teams look to try and play against. But as far as he's concerned, he's now finding himself the warranted success from getting a very strong laning phase, and that's rewarded with these 3 kills. Now 2 items, rushing the LDR, armor penetration is required, and especially when you know that you've got Ornn and Ornn and Hecarim always charging at you.
Hecarim is akin to Swaith, I understand. I mean, he's deadly.
It happens.
It does happen. It happens all the time. And I mean, what's happening is we're watching it. Oh.
We're just watching it happen again, Rusty. Pretty much. You talk about it. It's like one of those curses in the mirror. You say the name 3 times. They'll come at you again. They'll hit the combo on repeat. He'll buff with a flash. He'll hit it away. He'll survive to tell the tale. But it's now multiple engaged flashes removed away from the side of the Direwolves.
Yeah, I mean, Ornn ultimate, Hecarim ultimate, as well as the Kai'Sa. Summoners are missing from the side of Chiefs. Direwolves can still consider looking for a fight. It'd feel bad simply because, I mean, your Azir is top lane, even though his teleport's available. Claire is mini. and just used his flash, they could have considered. But why would you take that risk when you're getting priority in bottom lane? You're pushing the mid lane out of turret already. In fact, it drops as we speak. Direwolves come out ahead in that trade. Even if Claire dies, I think Direwolves come out ahead in that trade.
Yeah. I mean, they pick up 2 turrets, as you say, and it's a big component as to why what was once a 2k gold lead has now ballooned to a 4k gold lead, and it's a lot of the time Chiefs hunting and searching for the fights, whereas Direwolves much more keen to not get caught out of position. Once again, Cupcake hits the Tempered Fate with a little bit of negative synergy, not hitting the moment or hitting the key member that they were after, but regardless, it's the next dragon, it's the 4th one of the game, and it's an Infernal Soul that we're playing for.
Yeah, we're not at soul point yet. It'll be Drake number 3 if Direwolves pick this one up. Swait is hunting, but he's not going to be there anywhere near in time and doesn't want to risk dying for it, though the smite was there. At the end of the day, the Magical Journey is going to make sure that there's no risk for Gunkrab in mid lane. And overall, it does feel like Direwolves have regained their composure in this game. They've regained pretty much control across the board here, and now they're playing on their terms. This is the Direwolves that can take down the Chiefs, right? This is the much more scary roster, really bringing it together from the 20-minute mark.
Very different from what we saw of last week, right? And you talk about it as to how long a week can really be in the context of preparation, VOD review, mental adjustments to say, look, you know, things didn't go our way. Both of these teams had 3-0s, one in favor and one against, but coming back here, it feels a lot more standard to what we're akin to of their regular season performances, and that was the case for Direwolves, who had the 2 meetings and 2 wins.
And what Only said in the interview, Skimmy, was basically my thoughts on the prediction. I even said the exact same logic when they played against Peace. It's that you could beat Direwolves in game 1. They'll find a way to bounce back. Mentally, they're still in the game. Chiefs are a younger squad. They're a little bit more momentum reliant as a team, and there is a genuine concern as a Chiefs fan. If they lose this first game, how do they come back? How do they recover coming into the second? Already the gameplay that we're seeing from them now has started to come to a head and has felt a little bit more limited. Their team fighting hasn't happened. They're playing just for picks on a single member, and it has always been Claire.
Yeah, looking for it once again. Looking to try and isolate out Shock, who forced the flash away. The grand entrance hits nobody, but out comes the all-knock. They go for a Magical Journey. A 4-man knockup is so clean. It's surely so easy right now for the Chiefs. But it's a 1-for-1, all things said and done. Maybe they can find more, but it seems to be that Direwolves have found their mark. Protected underneath their own turret, disengaging back into their own jungle, playing on their own vision, and able to run down key targets when Gunkrab gets excited.
And at the end of the day, that was a fight that the Chiefs initiate, and they lose that as a 2-for-3 trade. Direwolves feeling pretty happy with the outcome of that one, all things considered. And we're still scaling up into this game. You know, Kise had a pretty good team fight. Shock did what he could and survived for as long as he can, but he was always going to fall. Good team fighting overall from the rest of the Direwolves squad to make sure that stayed strong. And now Gunkrab really is the point of hope for them come team fights. If Gunkrab dies, Chiefs could win. If Gunkrab survives, Direwolves should win.
He's just got so much money right now. You know, he completed item, always one completed item ahead of Mboma's Kaiser at this stage of the game. And it's incredible the amount of output you can provide that, even when you are the focus, even when you have no summoners, as you can see right now. He is still able to lay down so much significant damage that it's meaningful enough for the rest of the team even to trade up positively. And as we've seen, this gold lead continues to build in their favor, now up to 5k. Big question mark, though, goes around the case of really what are these teams playing for? We've seen that there's a big deterrent against going towards this Baron. You can imagine that Direwolves quite content at this pace of the game with a lead, with a soul point to play for. 2 minutes on the clock, and then we're good to go.
For sure. I mean, right now, you've got the Drake Soul, definitely a point of contention that the Chiefs have to address. As far as it currently stands, you're looking at full Baron control belonging to Direwolves as well through their vision placed. So the map belongs to them. Right now, the Chiefs are so against the grain, it's really difficult to get anywhere. And the first bush they check has only stunning them in the face with a bear slap.
Definitely posturing a lot more aggressively now, looking to try and be the ones that are playing proactive as opposed to being reactively jumped upon. Out goes the onslaught, looking to try and lock on one place key target. Cupcake gone, out comes the Call of the Forge God once again, but the members have scurried away. And it is clear that it's the focal point once again. He's going to turn Mega. He's going to be protected. And that respawn time will be kind enough to ensure that Cupcake will be back here for the next Drake.
Yeah, they pop the Sterax on Claire. They don't get his flash or his ultimate. However, he is about to drop out of Mega Gnar, and this outer turret is definitely looking like it's going to drop. Sway threatening on a flank just in case something were to happen. 50 seconds now on the clock until the Infernal Drake spawns. Chiefs fight back to regain some control. Mid lane priority is theirs. A free reset has been earned, but look at the minimap, Skimmy. It's still garbage vision compared to the Direwolves. It's not safe to walk up to that dragon without mid lane priority.
Yeah, I mean, you quite rightly point out the whole bottom half of this map. It's just red. Everything Direwolves, they know exactly where you are, hence why they were playing, so aggressively in the jungle, hunting for those picks. But as we get ourselves geared up for that 5th dragon of the game, a potential soul point here for Direwolves, worth noting that Ornn is level 14. Ornament upgrades are starting to come through, and Direwolves have picked up 2 stopwatches on their key carries.
Stopwatch is obviously a clear sign that they're looking to fight, particularly if a Jinx is picking this one up. This dragon is going to be the be-all end-all. Swayth is going to try and get in here. May just be too late, though. It's gone.
Sunny is gone, and looking to try and take that team fight as a result right now. Draku jumps in, unprotected, nothing to offer, and falls on down. Gunkrab is unstoppable. He's getting excited. He's looking to run them all down, but he's actually zoned away in the backline. Unprotected. Swayth can take him out of the fight straight away. The killer instinct in. He's gone golden, but he'll fall on down. A shutdown goes the way of Mboma. The rest of the Chiefs are fighting a second fight in the middle of the mid lane. And as Direwolves, forgetting that their AD carry is dead, still being aggressive, still charging forward, and still hunting for the first ace of this game.
Yeah, you may be able to take out one carry here, but there's a second one ready to go. Teleport actually going to top lane to try and ensure the tower stays alive. Will be able to work his way down towards the Baron regardless. So big teamfight victory there from Direwolves overall, even with their AD carry dying. Flash available, cleanse used, taken out by the Hecarim.
Big power swing now in favor of the Direwolves. They've got themselves the soul point, the explosive Infernal Drake damage. Now they're going to pick themselves up a Baron. The respawn timers are just not kind enough here for the Chiefs. They might not even be able to pick up any kills to deny the Baron buff, most importantly, because the magical journey, the recall back to base, the item acquisition, and the gearing up process to give themselves as much hope of getting game 1 in this best of 5 in their favor. And it's really interesting to me, Rusty, the fact that, in a game 1 like this, we talked at great lengths as to how much impact there would be between both of these support players and how Draku was the MVP in that series up against Order. But Cupcake right now, despite all the bans targeted towards that particular role, Cupcake's been the one that's been a lot more aggressive, a lot more present, and sure, the ultimates from either side haven't been too impressive, but they've definitely been able to find success when it's mattered most right now. Looking to try and turn them around. Can they make me eat my words? Cupcake falls on down. Sway picks up that kill. Looking to try and chase down a little bit more. Chaos Storm's gone out. It expires. And members of Chiefs are bleeding out here. They just can't sustain the front to back. Clear going to look to run them down. He has Flash. He has Mega. And he could hit the Gnar. But he decides against it in the end. And Rusty, an aggressive passage of play.
Certainly seems to be the case, Skivvy. Of course, they've actually got a lot of minions pushing in bottom lane here as well. So while the Baron pushes in mid, Direwolves threatening only actually moves his way to bottom. Chiefs want it.
Oh, it's a beautiful 2-man knockup. Liv, stop it. It's just so good. He's going to fall on down all the same. Clear finally finds vengeance for how poor that laning phase went. And he'll find that kill. Baron buffs have been removed. And it's only Shock that's been left behind.
Yeah, only going to have to run away here as well. Draku starting to move his way down, but it is an Udyr, so you'll never be catching him. At the end of the day, that was a nice little pick attempt there by Chiefs. Still ultimately not going their way, but that's because the Direwolves are playing super aggressively. Like, a lot of their stance right now and their posturing has been so far forward that easy to just engage onto them, right? Instead of playing respectfully where they may be weaker or they lose numbers. The second only shows bottom. Generally, your response is to play safe mid and just let like a Baron empowered cannon minion start to chunk out a turret, but they stay, they let an Ornn just hit an E on a wall and start those fights. But hey, they're winning them, so it doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter. These fights are a lot closer than you'd imagine, given the gold discrepancies and the buffs that do favor the Direwolves. But regardless, there is still a tune about it that Direwolves have that confidence about them. Still run this one down to the Nexus to get this series underway in their favor. But there's a certain degree of caution that starts to come to mind here. If we are looking at these handshake trades where 2 free members die on either side, Elder starts to become a talking point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Baron's going to be the first and foremost issue that we're going to be pursuing only in mid.
Forced to use that ultimate so he doesn't get stunned, becomes unstoppable, but that's now a massive component of Chiefs engage that has been removed, and it's going to be down for a fair bit of time. That's going to open up the floodgates here to try and take down that mid turret as well, and open up these conditions to start breaking the base.
Yeah, Baron does just expire there, which is what I was going to say before. Only had to use his flash disengage there, was looking for something himself. Azir turret just staunching them in mid lane right now, saying we're also pushing, but so dangerous to step up and auto attack. Even as a ranged champion, the turrets against Hecarim, against Galio, and against an Ornn, so they will respect, they'll play appropriately, and now the Elder that you mentioned definitely comes to the forefront of both teams' minds, and a lot of bot side gameplay probably going to be the play.
So it seems to be the case so far, as they've got themselves control of these side waves, always pushing, always pressuring to guarantee themselves the ability to group up as 5 and not feel like they're losing anything too significant as a result. Soon, close to hit that all-important flame horizon in the bot lane. Gunkrab, from the very get-go in this game, has found success even in 1v2s, Rusty. Crazy that he has just been so good so far. And worth noting, though, that Kisei is doing a fantastic job in his own damn right. They're going to try and do whatever they can. The assassination attempt on Gunkrab, he's just dead! Draku smacks him on the ground and locks him in place, but it's Bowman that picks up that kill. He needed that so desperately. And maybe that's a little bit of angry gaming there. As I talk about Flame Horizons, he says, watch this.
The thing is, we mentioned this in draft. It's not just angry gaming, right? It is legitimately the easiest way for the Chiefs to win this game. Gunkrab has no one to protect him. What are you going to Bard ult him as a Hecarim dashes on you? Well, then an Ornn's going to follow it up and he just dies a little bit slower. You really need to have Shock be a force to be reckoned with, and you really need to either have them set up in the perfect front-to-back position, where if a Hecarim wants to engage, he has to be on a flank. This keeps happening, where instead of it being a flank, they just walk at you really quickly and they find you, as Elder has been started.
It has been started. Shock's gone golden right now. This is Draco looking to try and end this game. He's forced to flash away. 2 main carry threats gone, and Bowman removes him. Cool, calm, and collected, forget laning phase. I show up at team fights, I show up at Baron fights, and I show up when it matters. This is the Chiefs looking to play around those respawn timers and looking to make sure that it's always a 4v5, so this is nowhere near a Baron flip. Oh no, the Jinx ultimate hit-lived.
Oh.
It's just done nothing, and that's going to be the Chiefs that pick themselves up the Elder.
Okay, so we've got Baron up in 30 seconds, but an Elder Dragon already on the side of the Chiefs. Shock now finds himself 0-4. And remember that you're looking at a team with Infernal Soul, unable to team fight, unable to group up, it seems, and actually play their front-to-back League of Legends that they might be after. They've got 4 items on the Jinx. They're team fight ready. The full damage coming out of this Jinx, no less. The Azir has gone towards his 3rd item. It was a Void Star, so definitely able to deal damage in fights. But have you seen one of those yet, where it isn't Chiefs who are starting it with the front foot forwards, with a Hecarim getting a pick and an Ornn following it up?
Worst possible place to find yourself in right now. Elder into Baron. That's a far bigger power buff to play around with if you're now looking to try and turn the fight, or turn the tides of this game in your favor. We were looking at a 7k gold lead for the Direwolves, hit the 35-minute switch, and that's been shrunk down to, well, less than 4k right now. That power buff is surely going to be significant enough for them to say, we'll continue to take these scrappy team fights, we'll continue to hunt out these skirmishes. We have CC, we have dive, and you've got no protection.
And I think the best way to play this one out now is you've got 45 seconds left on the Elder. You don't really have time to set up side lane, so you're going to have to go down mid. Baron will help you push the waves. Swaith can just hit a flank angle. This Azir turret is going to delay them a little bit, which is really nice. But you've got one wave, basically, right now to try and force a team fight on your opponents. If you get a carry, you could just win the game. And if you don't, you will still be able to threaten turrets because you have double buffs.
Very aggressive, our Chiefs positioning right now. They can afford to be so. There's no contest whatsoever. Direwolves very willing to sacrifice the inhibitor. It's not a fight worth taking, quite honestly. Buy their time, wait out the 2-minute duration, and deploy elsewhere in the map for the final dance. You'd have to imagine there as Chiefs try to be a little bit cool and cute, hide in the brush and do the 5-man face shape. But Direwolves not going to fall victim to that bait just yet.
I mean, there's no reason to face check just yet. You've got only clearing mid waves because Gunkrab doesn't feel safe enough. That's basically the state of this game. And you can see Gunkrab desperately trying to find that farm. does put himself potentially in harm's way just for the opportunity to clear the wave. Now, pushing top wave, remember that the Elder has dropped off. We've got 3 minutes and 30 till it spawns. So in terms of team fighting strength, missing that execute does make it a little bit better for the side of Direwolves, who are still in possession of the Infernal Soul. And
That's
they're
a nice
looking.
Fate. Locks in place Kissei. The Chompers won't connect, however, but now Liv seems to be the focus. LDR knocking around. A two-man flip back towards the team. That's the first kill. Exhausted as Swape jumps in. The ultimate does nothing but fear them underneath the protection of the top tier turret. And, well, this might be the fight they're looking for. Cupcake flashing forward very aggressively, trying to hit the stun. Just trying to buy up time for the likes of Shock and Gunkrab to pump home the damage.
Yeah, now Cupcake, the flash attempt was fine, it just misses the mark, and they're just going to be able to disengage for it. The end result is realistically just a 1-for-1, and it is just both top laners that have fallen down. Claire, Only, and Cupcake have used their flashes, though, when you look at that, and in comparison on the side of the Chiefs, Liv used his flash, Swaith ghosted. So Mboma's about to have his up, Kisei still has his available, and there's a distinct little edge there that you'd start to feel towards now if you are Chiefs, because you've got the ornaments on all of your carries now. They are scaling champions. Your composition has a Kai'Sa that works with those carries, and a Victor can just do so much damage in an AoE sense, just plastering everyone with AoE damage, that your team fighting is feeling exceptional. On the side of Direwolves, we've highlighted a few times how it's not exactly the safest place for Gunkrab to be, unless he's behind Shock, and then Shock's probably at risk, because he is a 1-4 mid laner with no Zhonya's Hourglass. There's so much more difficulty in the execution on the Direwolves side if they win this game.
There's plenty of damage, as you quite rightly point out, at this point of the game. You know, forget about what we're looking at in terms of overall gold. Basically, these teams, it all comes down to execution, and what Gunkrab would be very happy about is the fact that he's now picked up that Guardian's Angel. He knows he's been the focus. He's been very reluctant to step up, especially when double sums aren't there. This might be the golden ticket he needs to find success, bait all their attention, and turn things around. But as for the Chiefs, you know, they've been quite content, just ramping on through, causing panic amongst the ranks of the opposition, and seeing what sticks afterwards.
I think one really important thing here is that the mid lane inhibitor being the one that falls is perfectly fine for the side of Direwolves. Their ability to clear waves, not an issue. They've got a Jinx that one hits the Azir, one hits those supers, so they're basically irrelevant. It does mean that you'll see more of the Direwolves actually on mid waves. But at the end of the day, it's just free farm going into their pockets, and they are continuing to have a really nice overall farm advantage. The major thing is, like highlighted, that execution and how difficult it's going to be for Direwolves now as Chiefs have control, and the Elder Dragon is up soon.
40 seconds for the Elder, as opposed to 90 seconds on that Baron. You can see that both these teams putting so much emphasis on game one. If you're talking about momentum and how much it could mean for determining the overall success of this series, both aren't willing to take any major risks to try and wrap this one up, you know, in 25, 30 minutes. They're looking to try and take this one the distance. And it's almost like one of those situations, Rusty, I'm sure, where if you come off the defeat on this one, you're thinking that was a lot of energy invested in game number one, and you know, definitely can get into your mind.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's going to be about emotionally draining game ones or anything. I would say it's more just like the positive reinforcement of how this series is going to go for the winner. And right now for the Chiefs, even if they lose this game, really positive.
What positives will come out of this though? It's a full 5v5. The Elder is taunting him. It's the ultimate prize. It is the lottery ticket both teams are hunting for.
Oh, they're into the river though as well. So they've actually found access here. They have no mid priority. Chiefs can play slow. Direwolves have found river control here, and they can look for a team fight.
Direwolves inhibitor is still down, as you point out, so that's why the super minions are pushing on as fast as they can. Sway pops the chem tank, pops the ghost, looking to try and initiate onto one key target. Onto Only, knocked up, bounced around, looking to try and do whatever he can. He's down to 20%, receives the shield, receives the buff, the Kisser gets exhausted. Multiple members falling victim to the rocket damage that Jinx can expel. Getting excited, looking to try and take them all down. The Emperor's Divide gets the shutdown, removes Kisser from the equation, but he falls on down as Mboma snipes him from afar. GA's popping. And AD Carry's dying, as it may be the case of Direwolves finding access into the river when they really shouldn't have.
Yeah, I mean, the fight was forced by the Chiefs. Cupcake is looking to try and keep Draco in place, stops the Justice Punch, so does force the flash there. Minions are in bottom lane. They may lose a mid lane inhibitor here, Direwolves, but I think their eyes are set firmly on ending the game with this wave.
30 seconds and counting for the respawn time is here. It's Draku v the World. Looking to try and run this one down to end this game. As they will take down an inhibitor very, very quickly, moving themselves onto the turrets. How many taunts can he get out? How much time can he buy between that and the stopwatch? The first falls on down, into the second, hit the game over, the GG emote, it's all there. It's all things Direwolves, but it's a game that they had to work for.
I mean, absolutely made them work for it is the side of the Chiefs. Decent team fighting, but a lot of it was actually around just getting really strong picks and finding moments where they had control and they had to earn it back. They did, but Direwolves did it as well, right? So the takeaway from a game one like this is, yes, Direwolves win. That's really important because they'll be riding on that momentum through the rest of the best of 5. If I was in the Chiefs camp though, I feel really good about that game because even in a losing situation, I pulled it back. Even in a situation where it felt pretty rough early, we found so many strengths to keep the Direwolves down and bring the game back to winnable that the rest of the series is winnable, right?
Definitely found their moments of strength, their areas off the map to exploit, and the ability to come back into the mid game. And Mac, I mean, you look at a game like that to open up a best of 5 and you think, is it this team? Is it that team? Whose team? In the end, it was Direwolves. Stay with the team.
It really is the question. And look, Aiden Hiko, if you are still out there, hopefully you're still watching. If not, I've done this for nothing. I have gone and changed my wardrobe just for you. But look, let's not take away from it. Direwolves lost there. That was well played by them, especially towards the end. You know, hitting the go button just when they needed to as well. Didn't quite, oh, well, they got the ace. It was very belated, and even so, it was so hard for Dragku to stop that one from happening. But again, as you mentioned, very close game. Kills on the board were pretty much similar the whole damn time. And it looked like the tempo was swapping back and forth every now and then. You could see where Chiefs were on that back foot, managed to get the steal on one of the Dragons, get that Elder, as well as get the Baron. And I thought that the game could have been done then and there, but they just didn't take that opportunity to go for the fight, which may be a mistake in hindsight. However, you know, Direwolves certainly playing this one to a T.
Yeah, you have to remember the Direwolves were actively avoiding the fights just as much as the Chiefs were looking to force, right? It's easier said than done to say we have the buffs, let's just fight. When your opponents are giving you inhibitors for free, right? They're fully sacrificing anything that you run up to try and take. And all that really came down to for me was that last fight where you see them get access to the river itself. And then from that moment, Chiefs have a choice because they have mid priority. They could have actually chosen to stay. They could have chosen to fight for the Elder outright, or they could have sent someone who has a teleport to mid lane to threaten to end the game and play slow around the Elder. They choose to fight, they choose to force, and that's ultimately the reason they lose game one.
There you go. So hindsight is 2020, of course. You know, in the moment with the pressure, everything is a little bit dirty, a little bit dusty, and it's all about what could happen. Now, were there any surprises here with the draft? Because obviously I wasn't here to discuss it with you guys.
I mean, me and Rusty were both a little bit curious about the targeting towards the support champions and just the amount of pressure. I mean, I was very curious coming into this one what would actually mean when two very keen roaming supports would come and clash against one another. Would one decide, I need to sit with my laner? Would both go roam and try and find success? Would neither? And as we saw from that one, despite ultimates not being the key talking point between these two, it was very much a case of, if I can find a fight on this part of the map, then we'll win there. But then you could see that the Chiefs are saying, we'll put our emphasis top side, the Direwolves will put in their emphasis bot side. It felt like to me in the end, it was a case of itemization. Once you've got enough stopwatches, GAs and all the rest of it, it was a case of who could pop those first.
Well, you know, Wukong ban, interesting. Do you think that's a result of maybe some scrims, maybe some things that we didn't get to see leading into this match?
I mean, Wukong's a decent champion, surprisingly, at the moment as well. Something that we have seen in other regions. It could just be a lived thing. So we found a lot, and there's a lot of champions that the Oceanic region just doesn't play. An example of that is Kalista. We're seeing that everywhere. Wukong, we've been seeing a little bit of sporadically. Lived could be a good Wukong player. It could just be the fact that Claire, because Na has a lot of potential weaknesses to Wukong, is aware of that counter and wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if maybe we do get some more Kalista. I think Mboma chose it for one game, right?
Yeah, it's only been one game he played into Gravitas, and yeah, it was a weird situation because I was actually watching back that game coming into this one, seeing how much it was played in LEC and LCK, and I was thinking, all right, why aren't we playing it? And I watched that game back, and I think he only hit the ultimate about like 23 minutes into the game because Draku's just never there. He's always running around, always doing his own thing. So at that point, you're feeling that Kalista is half a champion because two of your spells are sort of reliant on your partner being there. So I'm interested to see if what we've seen today of the Chiefs bot lane does mean that Callista's still on the cards.
Well, let's see if that is the case, ladies and gentlemen. That was game 1. Game 2 coming up on the other side of this break. Don't go too far.
They certainly are. There's going to be a shot hitting a Streamer Shuffle, looking to try and dodge over. Flash goes out early. Double stacking the ults on the gun crab. He's just going to fall on down. It's a shutdown. 5-2 and 0 now. He swipes Hector him. He's strong. A second easy pick. It's Mboma that removes the Direwolves jungler. And what do Direwolves have left? Mega is there. Will he go for
A little bit better for the side of Direwolves, who are still in possession of the Infernal Soul. And they're
Nice
looking.
Fate. Locks in place.